Carolina Panthers may have made the upside move of the offseason, trading for maligned Jets quarterback Sam Darnold, but he is still a top 5 pick with plenty of talent in an offense that has plenty of playmakers. Joining me now from Locked On Panthers, Julian Council. And Julian, what is it going to take this season for Sam Darnold and this offense to take that proverbial step forward?
Quite simply, at least for Sam Darnold's sake, he has to take care of the football, right? 39 interceptions in 38 career games. He has 20 fumbles. That's just not going to get it done. Yes, there's plenty of reasons why he didn't have success in New York because of the lack of talent around him in terms of the skill positions and on the offensive line. But here in Carolina, he has everything around him that should lead to success. You talk about Christian McCaffrey, 2019, last time we saw him for a full season, had over 1,000 yards receiving and rushing, only happened 2 other times in the history of the league. Robbie Anderson, he had a rapport with him back in New York, had a 1,000-yard receiving season last season. You also bring back DJ Moore, who's had back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. And then Dan Arnold, free agent who came over from Arizona, seemingly they have a pretty good rapport already, as we've heard in training camp. So yeah, just make the plays, good decision-making, and don't turn the football over. And this offense just have success. Last year, they had 4 guys over 1,000 yards from scrimmage, and Bridgewater was the quarterback. So now thinking with the top 3 talent in Sam Darnold, they should probably be able to elevate things if he's able to protect the football and have confidence behind that offensive line, which is a question mark. But there was plenty of reasons to believe why Sam Darnold could turn things around here in Carolina. I'm not quite sure if that's going to happen, but I see why Scott Fitterer and the coaching staff made the risk by trading for Sam Darnold.
On the defensive side of the ball, they've invested heavily in premium draft capital on that side. Top 10 picks on guys like Derek Brown, J.C. Horn, and there is some talent on that side of the ball, no question. But in a division where you've got Sean Payton and the Saints, who knows what Jameis Winston is going to be, but we think that Saints offense could still be pretty good. We know the Bucs offense is going to flourish, and the Falcons, still an offensive-minded team now with Arthur Smith at head coach. So what is it going to take for this defense to help make up for those moments when maybe Sam Darnold does turn the ball over?
They're going to have to get to the quarterback, something that they did not do at all last season. The year prior, they were second in the league behind New England in sacks. And last season, they were at the bottom of the NFL. You drafted 7 guys back in 2020, Matt Rule's first draft, all defensive players. Bring in J.C. Horn as the first defensive player taken in the draft, and you had literally every defensive player who was draft eligible at your disposal, and you chose him. But that's not necessarily all that matters. It's about guys like Brian Burns, who I think can take that next step and be a guy who can have double-digit sacks and be a Pro Bowler. It's about Yetur Gross-Matos, who they took in the second round in 2020, who was banged up last year and only had 2 sacks. Derek Brown, who was their top pick back in 2020 also, didn't really offer too much pressure in the middle, but you add a guy like Daquan Jones, who comes from a Titans team that's been a perennial playoff team for the last couple of seasons with Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill, and Arthur Smith, like you mentioned, who's now in Atlanta. You have some grown adults in that team. So I like what they have in the secondary with Dante Jackson, having AJ Boye, who didn't have a great year in Denver, but's been a Pro Bowler before, and with J.C. Horn, the potential that he has. But really it's going to come down to getting to the quarterback, getting takeaways, something the Carolina Panthers didn't do a lot of back in 2020 in Matt Rule's first season.
All right, finish this sentence for me, Julian. The Panthers can make the playoffs if?
If they execute in the red zone. They were 28th out of 32 teams in the National Football League last year in red zone touchdown percentage, about 50.9%, I think exactly. They were pitiful with that. You bring in Sam Darnold with the expectation that he's going to at least get things done in that part of the field. You can also look back to the fact that at the end of games, when they had opportunities to either tie or win, they went 0 for 8 in those situations. If you execute in the red zone, you probably put yourself in a situation where you're not always having to chase the game at the end, which they were in the position every single week, seemingly last season. So yeah, executing the red zone, I think that's what could lead the Carolina Panthers being a playoff team, more so than having to worry about 1-minute drives, 2-minute drives, and trying to win at the end of the game. So yeah, they do that. Sam Darnold takes care of the football. This could be a playoff team. I don't think they're going to be a playoff team. They're the youngest team in the NFL, so just conventional wisdom tells you that maybe give it a little bit more time. Second-year head coach is only his second year as an NFL head coach, only third year as a coach in the NFL, period. I'm looking towards 2022 as a season for this team to maybe to contend for the division, depending on, of course, what goes on in New Orleans and Tampa Bay and obviously Atlanta. So, yeah, I think they have a good chance to be a decent team this year, just not really seeing playoffs just yet.